Hello, YouTube subscribers. Today or tonight, whenever you're watching this, I am doing another horror movie review. And since this month, I actually planned it I actually planned on doing reviews, two reviews, for two horror movies for this exact month for February. Um. Right. Yeah, right, yeah, February. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Sorry, it kind of spaced me for the moment. Yes, for this month, for February, I plan to do two horror movie reviews for you guys for this month because basically coming this Wednesday, I kind of spaced it until this week, but hey, I'm doing it now. But coming this Wednesday, of this week is Valentine's Day, and I figured why not review, like rewatch and review, one of my favorites holiday horror movies, and that's basically the original My Bloody Valentine and the remake My Bloody Valentine. Now, I will say, I'm actually glad I didn't wait to get these because the two movies because I actually got the movies last year, but uh, but I got the movies last year, and the one thing that actually bugged me from last year to this year was when I went to my Richland Walmart last year and my Kennewick Walmart last year. They had both the original and the remake at both Walmarts of both locations of the original and remake My Bloody Valentine. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I bought both of them, including I like them both in their own certain way, and I'll basically explain into that. But coming into this year, I actually expected to see them on the shelves for Valentine with the other Valentine movies again, since they did last year. No, for some reason they didn't. So I'm like, oh, I'm glad that I got them last year. I mean, so I didn't have to order them. So luckily, I got them both, so I didn't have to order them this time around. I mean, maybe next year they might have out on the shelves, but if you guys missed out, and then you guys are left to turn around to order them. That kind of sucks, but um, but when I bought these at Walmart, bought the original and the remake, but right now I'm reviewing the original. Uh, they were $10 each, or at least I want to remember they were $10 each, which wasn't bad. Um, uh, it came in with this beautiful slide that normally I don't keep the slides, the cardboard sleeves, but gotta look at this. This is freaking gorgeous. Just freaking awesome. Just freaking awesome. And then, that's a sign. The other slide. And the back. And then take the sleeve off. That's the front. That's the one, the side, the other side, the back, and basically the inside. Now, I got my negatives and I got my positives for the original. I mean, granted, My Bloody Valentine is one of my favorite holiday horror movies. But and don't get me wrong, I mean, I am a diehard for the original, sometimes for the remakes, but more for the originals. Like Chucky, I'm a diehard for the original Chucky. I'm a diehard for some of the original slashers like Michael Myers, Leatherface. Even though I might have the remakes to those slashers, does not mean I'm more faithful to the originals. I am more of a diehard fan to the originals than to the remakes. I got my own policy to the remakes, my own love to the remakes, but when it came down to the original My Bloody Valentine, honestly, my first time seeing it was basically the day after I bought it, and honestly, I gotta, because I didn't know the one I saw was a remake. I totally thought that was the original My Bloody Valentine. So basically, got older, a little bit wiser. I realized by doing more research, hey, the one I've seen years ago was actually a remake. So I've hunted down the original. I've been looking around. First time that I saw them both and Walmart, bought them both, sat down and watched them both. Basically the next day after I bought them. So sit down, watch them both, and honestly, I love them. Like I said, I love them both to a certain extent by their own way, the way they were made in their own way. Like, okay, like the original. Since this is a review for the original, basically, I'm just gonna talk about the original instead of trying to talk about them both. But the original one, okay, yeah, it's a classic. Should I just permanently say, yeah, the original one, the classic one is better? To a certain point, I will say, yeah, it does have its moments of actually being a very good horror Valentine movie. But on the other hand, it does got its issues. Like, okay, I'm not gonna bitch about too much about the timing, like the time of the movie, because, and I'm not talking about like a year type time, but I'm talking about like the pacing of the movie. But like the pacing of the movie, it's okay. It could go a little faster. Meeting everyone, especially the main two guys that's fighting over, that's basically the love interest. That's cool. I mean, I mean, and including it my Uh, I mean, it. What I really like about the original My Bloody Valentine is that it really plays with the whole horror type aesthetic. Is that basically you got the boyfriend, you got the ex-boyfriend or friend, and that's basically fighting over the girl, and which that's most time in the horror movies. And then you got the main girl, which ends up being the main, which survivor girl, which in My Bloody Valentine, that's kind of not the case. It's also there's on the side of being the survivor girl that is still the victim and not completely the hero. It's more of it's also the survivor male as well, and and the male is actually the hero of the movie. But you got like the side characters, that's basically also the friends, and that basically you got, which is also the body count, um, which is also good. I mean, you relate to them, you can understand them, and they all work in this mine. They all work in this mine that basically the miners, and that 20 something years ago 20 something years ago that basically something happened in the mines on Valentine's Day, that and one of the miners went fucking ballistic, and after getting trapped down there a few, I think like a few months or a few days, and after Valentine's Day, and basically got locked up, and after being locked up, escaped, and went back to the town to kill a few people on the day of on Valentine's Day, um, which okay, cool. I mean, it explains the whole origin story of like who the main killer is, but it also explains a whole nother story of who actually of K basically the people that the miner blames, that got that basically put him in the spot, which basically the original miner killer, he only got trapped, him and a few others got trapped down there was because two workers weren't didn't wait patiently enough to make sure all the other miners got out of the mine safely and carefully to enjoy the Valentine party, and the two guys left and not even thinking about the explosion part, because I guess there was gas in the mine and it went off, and that's how the miner got stuck and went crazy down in the mine. Well, turns out one of the two guys that's basically been one of our main two characters, that grows up and actually ends up working in the mine. It also, our two characters basically got explained that one move away, tried to make a life for himself in the big world and the hotshot life, when he actually couldn't make it out that way, came back, hopefully get the girl he had when he was in high school and growing up, and yet and while that's going on, she's also dating. Well, she's basically playing hop handy sack between that guy and some other guy that she basically leaned onto after the other guy left, um, which the other guy she more leaned to after the other guy left was Axel. Axel was the guy that basically stayed behind, watched over her, fell in love with her, and basically is as one of our main characters that we actually realized grew up and end up working in the mine. Now, the guy that left and came back, he's the mayor's son, which is also the owner of the mine. Which his dad basically said, "Hey, you're not. Hey, your dreams got crushed. Tried to tell you. Now it's time for you to do what I want you to do since you moved back here, work in the mine." S- uh, um, and then after 27 years went by, nothing happened, and nothing happened. Uh, they they decided the mayor, the chief, and some old lady that that lives in the town that loves Valentine's Day ends up actually wanting to throw a Valentine's Day celebration. Since nothing in 27 years, in 20, I don't know, 20 something years went by and since nothing happened, they're like, hey, let's throw a Valentine's Day celebration. After that went, basically, while that's going on, while they're getting decorations ready, one murder actually popped up. Someone sent the mayor a heart shaped box with a human heart in it, and that's only because that was the calling card for the miner. Because after the miner killed a person, it always end up being he always left a human heart in a heart shaped candy box. Uh, so basically, this new miner that basically everybody thinks the original miner is back because there was no rumor, there was no, there was nothing. It all went silent over on that part of that character of that person is that he basically got resent back to the asylum and nothing was heard from then. No, the sheriff and the mayor wasn't concerned about did he die, did he get retransferred, or what. They just let him go. But since the miner came back, it got and since the mayor got a heart-shaped box, not thinking about it, opened it up, basically read one of the poems that's basically the miner's is also something the miner did was on the side of sending a heart-shaped box with a human heart in it with a poem on a heart-shaped card. um the mayor quickly realizes the poem and quickly finish opening up the box, finds a human heart that belonged from a basically a female that we kind of see in the beginning. That basically we in the beginning of the movie we see two miners walking into the mine. One was a female, and one actually ends up being our killer, and she becomes the first kill. And which ends up being pretty obvious. She becomes our first kill of the movie because I mean, whoever basically has a heart shaped tattoo other than Tiffany Valentine, uh uh basically in My Bloody Valentine type movie, you're basically slapping a sign on your chest and saying, "I'm your first victim," because, but even though that's a far stretch, I mean, trust me, I mean, that, come on. But she ends up being our first victim and our first heart that we see from the miner, from returning 20 something years. Um, which we get a pretty good amount of kills. I mean, there's a few. There's a few in the original and remake, My Bloody Valentine. Um, I want to say the remake outweighs the, which of course, because that's the remake rules, outstage the original. Also some of the sequel rules as well outstage the original. But um, uh, I love the look of the miner. The miner is pretty good. For to me, the miner does look creepy with the Darth Vader breathing mask, his pickaxe, and and so do, do I like the kills? Yes, I do appreciate the kills. Do I like the story plot? Yeah, to a certain amount of respect, because which, okay, this is the part I like, is the part I actually completely respect for it to be a Valentine movie while being a horror movie at the same time. Is that when you have a Valentine movie, that, of course, you gotta have drama. You have to have, like, one girl confused over two guys, or one guy confused over two girls. Um, um, so and so it's, and the drama between the two guys and girl. It it's actually it's kind of what bores me to death most of the time through the movie. But also what satisfies me, because to me it helps with the kills, because it actually makes you question, okay, who could actually be the killer? Who is actually killing their friends, but also sending a message while maybe being the next miner? Maybe it's not the original miner, because as you find out, there's no files on whatever happened to him. It doesn't tell you in the beginning of the movie. He's not dead. He might have been transferred, or he might have been freed, or whatever. So while you're trying to figure out, okay, is it the original miner, or is it basically a copycat? And it turns out, and it actually does turns out, that basically one of the victims that the original guy came back and killed that very Valentine night, that basically turned out to be Axel's father, which Axel turns out to be the copycat killer miner. So, and at the end, which that's what actually makes you a little creeped out more from Axel, is that it actually does explain more from Axel once you, if you don't pick it up more from the first time around, if you watch it again, you can understand it more. That, okay, yeah, it is Axel, because, okay, he is breaking down, he is shutting down, he's basically losing the person he loved, the person he protected from the other guy. And basically who was always been there for her, and basically, sure, he had a rough life. He lost his dad. He basically he basically had his dad's blood splat over him when he was a child. He was really, really messed up. Uh Trying to hold everything together, and while he actually breaks, and it's not actually him breaking completely. It's more of the psychological of of two minds, which I truly feel like the remake explains this a whole lot more better than the original one kind of did. Is that basically Axel had a split personality where he actually thought he was the original miner, and that's why he slapped on the costume and started killing everyone, because once he saw the decorations and certain things, he just snapped and started acting like the original miner and started killing everyone, going around and started doing the poems and the heart-shaped human heart boxes. Um uh so and at the end, that basically you hear his very last words, his very last sentence that he will say at the end of the movie basically gives you chills. Basically, he in a very gentle, soft, but you know it's evil tone. You hear him say, um, as in a very different way that honestly I can put it right now, even though I just watched it. Um, I told you I'll be back. I told you I'll always be back. I will be back next year, Sarah. Which basically, Kate, yeah, it wasn't technically in those terms, but it was, but just in a different way of how I can display it at this moment. It's basically, it was just that basically I always told you I would always be back no matter what. I'll be back next year. At, but that, but here's the extra part of chills is that he asked his girlfriend, the girl he basically broke up with him to actually end up with the other guy. That guy didn't mean to break her heart and didn't mean to leave her, but you kind of understand the other guy. He didn't want to drag her along and allow her to stumble and fall on her face if he did, which is understandable, which is respectful, but but Axel says, "Sir, sir, will you be my bloody Valentine?" Last few words in that sentence, just extra chills and perfect. It was just perfect. And then the movie just ends. Perfect. To me, the original movie isn't a masterpiece in its own way compared to the remake. Although again, the remake is also a masterpiece in my opinion. Uh, but it all depends on your guys' opinion. Um, do but like I said, do I truly believe the original My Bloody Valentine is a masterpiece? To a certain extent. It is a masterpiece to a certain extent. It is, the kills are great, the story plot, it's great to a certain extent. Um, but again, it also probably depends when you watch it as well, because not many people enjoy a movie when they're like most time exhausted. Um, so um, but like I do every year, and even not on uh the month of Valentine's Day, I would even watch My Bloody Valentine even then. But so yeah, I basically give the original My Bloody Valentine, even though it's the original, and I have very, very, like, my hates is not as much as my likes. And honestly, there's not really much hate you could give the original either. Uh, but I basically just give My Bloody Valentine a 5, a 5 star out of mm, 10 stars, I guess. 5 stars out of 10 stars. I know that might be mean to some people, but honestly, yeah, 5 stars out of 10 stars for the original My Bloody Valentine. Um, the my favorite character from My Bloody Valentine is. It's actually really hard because I do like Axel, especially his story, his character storyline, how it went from point A to point B. But I also like the other characters, the other main character guy, that basically how his storyline went from point A to point B. But so that's really hard. Um, uh, but hey, you guys tell me in the comments down below, who was your favorite character in My Bloody Valentine? Do you even like the horror movie My Bloody Valentine? Do you which one is your guys' favorite, the original or the remake? And yes, I am I'm gonna do a review for the remake tomorrow. Tomorrow, I am gonna do a review for the remake tomorrow. So, tonight's the original, which is a Monday. Tomorrow is the remake. Who's your favorite character in My Bloody Valentine? Do you even like My Bloody Valentine movies at all? If so, which one? The original or the remake? What's your favorite kill scene? Do you even what's your favorite line? What's your favorite basically anything that deals with My Bloody Valentine? Leave it in the comments below. Also, leave this in the comments below. What horror movie would you like to see me review someday? And technically, it doesn't even have to be just a horror movie. It could be an action sci-fi horror movie. In a way, sometimes horror sci-fi movies are a bit of horror as well. Or just sci-fi action movies. So, yeah. Leave that in the comments down below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet. If you're a newcomer just dropping by one of my videos, that would be awesome. If you want to join the subscriber group of my YouTube channel, if you're a old subscriber, welcome back. I do appreciate you guys always coming back for more. Please hit that like button if you liked this video. Please hit that dislike button if you didn't like this video. Have a nice day, have a nice night whenever you're watching this. Peace.